I've never been a fan of racing games. I will not deny, I've always found its selling points comprehensible. Taking incredible machines to the limit, admire the intimate complexity of vehicles, or the simple pleasure of getting a car and throwing at another. But for me, in order for a game of this style to really please me, it should be less like this, and a little bit more. And if you have been feeling a distinct lack of opportunities to level a city while racing, fill that void right now with Split Second. And besides, having to choose between a game that would allow me to accompany our most beloved Witcher in a refreshing bath, or one that says, do you know the act of going from point A to point B? How about doing that, only really fast? The choice would never be too difficult. But things changed a little bit when I played Forza Horizon. A great friend of mine, who asked not to have his face revealed, handed me a copy, saying it was one of his favorite games and he would like me to give it a try. And I must say that this game was everything but what I expected. Let's start with the concept, which managed to be, at the same time, very stupid, lovable and creative. There's a festival called Horizon, in which you have shows, amusement parks, and most importantly, races. So you, being this smart and curious person, quickly asks, where does it all take place? Is it in a stadium? Do they block some streets? Well, no. The equivalent of entire state is reserved. The whole open world in which the game takes place exists only and exclusively for racing and has a beautiful backdrop for photos. Any pretension that the cities you travel in maintain some form of normalcy are thrown out of the window the moment the game starts. It's creating an environment as comically impossible as it is exaggerated. But at the same time, it presents itself with a sincerity and sympathy that you cannot help but get carried away by the setting. It's so absurd that even the Hot Wheels expansion, which adds a large open world made of orange tracks, gigantic loops, and life-size version of plastic cars, has a logistical and plausible explanation for its existence in their real world. The atmosphere of the game is, from start to finish, that of a party. However, it's not any celebration, but the kind that makes you feel like a person that is always welcome. If your desire is to maintain a serious expression while racing the same track over and over, trying to increasingly cut milliseconds of your time, the game will become that for you. If you want to race without ever stopping accelerating, because, as everyone knows, braking is for cowards, the game will also become that for you. But what if you don't want to race, and just want to feel the atmosphere of a rainy afternoon with the sound of a good song where you drive to wherever your heart takes you? You can be sure that the game will become that for you. The victories are celebrated and the losses are received with a warm, "Damn buddy, you got so close, but don't worry, that's a hard one. I'm sure next time you'll succeed." It's a different kind of escapism, one not based on egocentric fantasy, but on a warm welcome and sympathy. There is a notion that the great appeal of games is the escapism, that they are the land of positive reinforcement, to which we run away whenever the real world becomes unfair, boring, or when we need to inflate our ego. I'd say that notion is more limited than completely wrong. But what's interesting is the way that Horizon embraces escapism in a manner that doesn't make you feel self-centered, but happy. Well, after having used several beautiful words, the question remains, how do you play this? If freedom is the theme and atmosphere of the game, that is also true for the gameplay. Something that can be a little bit intimidating is the fact that the main franchise, Forza Motorsport, is one of those games for very serious people who appreciate adult things like clutch, turn signals, and not hitting things. However, right from the start, the game gives you a wide range of options so that you can customize the experience however you want. Want to be the most popular person during lunch in your school, playing only with the most realistic options and using overpriced plastic steering wheels? Hey, not a problem. Want to tune the trashiest car you can find and run around golf courses using opponents as safety walls? That is also included. But it's not only the gameplay itself that the game shines. The beautiful open worlds of the games give a lesson on how to create and explore a vast place. Since the act of driving is, in itself, a pleasure, consequently, that makes the act of exploring the locations equally interesting. The world is never tedious, loaded with unnecessary icons and items. It has the ideal size, with objectives that marry perfectly with the purpose of the game. Lastly, and I do not know how you do this, it can be with a notepad, registering on your phone, or making a cut on your finger and writing with blood. No matter how, but do this favor for yourself. Make note of the songs from the game. That's a guarantee. You may have the most boneless musical taste imaginable, but you'll find at least one song you love. The many radio stations bring a little bit of everything, but unfortunately, the absence of Fala Mansa is a huge mistake. After all, nothing's perfect. There are many reasons why someone may love Forza Horizon. Perhaps not the biggest, but undoubtedly very relevant, is the fact that, with vehicles coming from the worlds of Hot Wheels, LEGO, Halo, Final Fantasy and Cyberpunk 2077, the franchise is the closest we ever have to a Smash Bros. With cars. As much as the game focuses on transmitting a sense of speed and adrenaline, which it does very well, it also gives us a little bit of peace and freedom, and I think we all need that from time to time, don't we? If you have Game Pass, and since it's one of Microsoft's main games, a version of Forza Horizon will always be available, being on a spark of curiosity away. If you take anything from this video, I ask that it be the possibility of giving the game a chance, especially if you're not a fan of racing games. If it's your first time with the saga, or even with a racing game, you can rest assured the game will be welcoming. And after all, it can be said that it's the main idea behind the franchise, that everyone may feel welcome to the Horizon.